Alright, well, Nikita has requested a Bowden tube test. So the test that he's requested is with and without that clip that holds the Bowden tube in place. Just as an FYI, for those that may be new to 3D printing and to the Kobra Go, this is the Bowden tube, and so the filament comes into the extruder. There's a spur gear that the stepper motor is driving to push filament through this Bowden tube to the hot end. So the nozzle is down below. On my printer, it arrived with the clip installed on this end of the Bowden tube. On the other end of the Bowden tube, there was no clip installed. There was a tie wrap that they'd put around the fitting in place of this clip. For some strange reason, they included that clip in the little toolkit. So when I was changing out the nozzle on this end and I saw that, I removed the tie wrap and I put the clip in place. Underneath this clip, there's a fitting here that's a compression fitting. So when you push the Bowden tube in, there's little claws or teeth that will actually grip onto the Bowden tube. So it's basically spring-loaded mechanism. Removing this clip will allow you to be able to push the Bowden tube in, and then if you hold the black ring in, you'll be able to pull the Bowden tube out of the fitting. So the theory is that without the clip, this Bowden tube might move in and out when you're pushing and pulling, or rather retracting, filament during your print. So if it retracts the tube during the print and it takes time to move the tube forward, that will have a negative impact on your print. So we're going to do two tests in order to be able to see if that is true or not. We will do a retraction tower with the clip in and a retraction tower with the clip removed. In order to be able to determine if the tube is moving or not, I'm going to add a piece of electrical tape so that you'll see a very straight line, and I will focus in on this area. You'll be able to see my indicator whenever I'm pushing filament and when I'm retracting filament, and during those times, if you see the tube move, that's a bad thing. So here we are performing our first test with the clip in place on a retraction tower, and you will see that the indicator is showing where we're doing the retractions versus when we're feeding the filament. And if you look at the mark on that piece of tape on the Bowden tube, you'll see that there is no movement actually taking place during this print. Now here I'm performing the second retraction tower test, and you're going to see that by the indicator that we're feeding and retracting filament. I still don't see any movement. Mind you, the movement could be very, very small where the naked eye cannot pick it up. What you do see is you're going to see movement from the fact that the print head is moving back and forth. So you're going to see that Bowden tube moving a little bit up and down. But what we're looking for is, does it move in and out? So I want to show you the movement of that fitting. So if I push the Bowden tube in, you can see that I just pushed the indicator back when I pushed in on that fitting. If I was to hold that little black ring in place, then you would be able to pull the Bowden tube out. Okay, the first retraction tower test results where the clip was installed on the fitting for the Bowden tube, and honestly it came out really, really well. I mean, it looks pretty dynamite. It bridged the gap. I mean, maybe not perfectly, but it looks pretty good. There's tiny fibers right there, but absolutely no big deal. I would be able to remove that with my fingernail. So now for the retraction tower number 2, where the clip was removed, and you can see that there's some really fine stringing there. I mean, that could be a coincidence, and there's just a little piece that's hanging there. I mean, I'm not going to bother repeating this thing over and over again. My recommendation over time is that even though you may not see it move, small movements over a period of time could potentially have those claws or teeth inside of that fitting basically wearing that Bowden tube out, and then it might start to move in and out and start to affect your prints. So my recommendation is definitely to run it with the clip installed. If you do not have a clip on yours, then a small tie wrap wrapped around, choking it so that that black ring will remain on the outside. Anyways, if you're new to the Kobra Go and want to get this thing set up so that it prints really, really well, I have some tips that I've created a video for, so that's in the link up the top there. Have a look at it. Let me know if any comments, any questions, if there's anything that you want to see, just let me know in the comments and I'll be glad to help out if I can.